Good evening, race fans, and welcome to the semifinals of the Mtn Dew Modified Tour presented by Tagare Property Management. My name is Mason Highball with Team Goon Squad, bringing you tonight's action 1080p 60 frames a second. As per usual today, we are here at Southern National Motorsports Park for 150 laps of our feature race today, being the excitement for tonight as drivers get prepared for their qualifying and make their way out onto track to start off their first timed laps of today's race. Folks, again, this is the semifinals of this season, and while I don't have a pretty graphic to show everyone this time around, I do apologize. It has been a busy week for myself here. But anyway, anyhow, right now, Brett Hahn actually nudged out Ron Hart last week at Irwindale for the lead in the points championship. So Brett Hahn is currently the leader in our point standings as it currently stands. So tonight, if he is able to secure yet another win after winning last week's race at Irwindale, Brett Hahn might possibly be able to secure himself even more so a secure spot for the season as it wraps up here very shortly. Now, as we look at qualifying right now, drivers quickly completing their timed laps for today. You can see on the left-hand side of your screen where everyone has placed for their best time on the track. And right now, Brett Hahn holds that best time with a 13.39 here in qualifying. So, great work from the 71 machine here today. And again, the 71 will have to start from the back of the field per the shotgun rule at the start of this race here, as we watch the father of Brett the Jet Hahn, Eric Hahn, in the 711 machine. He's going to complete his final timed lap for today. Let's see where the 711 places himself here on the grid, and that seems to be 14th as it currently stands. So, Eric Hahn going to be starting out just outside of the top 10 here for the start of today's race. And with with Brett Hahn starting not too far behind him, given per the shotgun rule, he will have to start at the tail end of the field for the start of today's race. But I'm sure that we will see Brett Hahn work his way through this field and get his way up into the top 10, top 5, and even eventually the top 3 as time comes around. But Brett Hahn right now and Andrew Payne and Ron Hart going to be in the top 3. We've seen all three of these drivers, Ron Hart and Andrew Payne, both have also put on some excellent performances throughout this season. So it's great to have these two starting out in the top 3 for the start of the race here today. But again, Brett Hahn, even with the incredible qualifying time that he's put here today, and actually just about 0.3 of a second faster than that of the 93 of Andrew Payne. So Brett Hahn here obviously will have the pace, but will he be able to work his way through this field comfortably and safely, as this track can possibly pose some dangers even here? Look at this, Eric Hahn getting into the wall on the front stretch as he looks like he was preparing himself for the entry of turn 1, but that is going to be the end of our qualifying here as it stands, and with just under 30 seconds left here before the qualifying officially ends here for the session. Folks, I've said this already a couple times here, but I'm going to say it again. This is the semifinals for the race for the season, and I got to say, this whole season has presented a lot of great racing, a lot of great talent, And if you were here last year for the Super Late Model Series as well, Brett Hahn is a familiar face who took away the win for that series. Will he be able to do the same here this time around? We will find out here as we grid up for the start of our race here today. Starting out in first place, but only for just a moment. He will have to work his way back towards the back of the field. Brett Hahn in the 71 machine, and Andrew Payne in the 93 going to be in second place on your first row. Ron Hart in the 051 going to be in third, with Hayden Swank in the 35 going to be in fourth place. In your second row, David Payton in the 38 going to be in fifth place, with Nick Fleury in the 25 rounding out your third row. Robert Beesaw Jr. in the 3 machine in seventh place, with Charles Darling in the 8 machine in your fourth row. Rex Hoyle in the 54 going to be in ninth place, with Nathan Henry in the 59 going to be in 10th. In your fifth row, Noah Boucher in the 16th going to be in 11th. Mark Welsh excuse me, going to be in 12th place there. John Kane in the 29 going to be in 13th, with Eric Hahn in 14th. Christopher Campbell going to be in 15th. Austin Nielsen in 16th. Zach Heiser in 17th. Andrew Burr in 18th. John Sinu in 19th. Billy Thomas in 20th. Evan Coleman in 21st. Brent Seagars in 22nd. Steve Seagars in 23rd. And John DeMeester in 24th. Justin Wood in 25th. Rounding out your field here for today's race. Wow, quite the field that we have here today. 25 drivers in total as we prepare ourselves for the first green flag lap here at Southern National Motorsports Park. The Mountain Dew Modified Tour presented by Tagare Property Management. And I want to thank Tagare Property Management, PepsiCo, all the sponsors here for the series for bringing us on board and having us broadcast this series, be here for the drivers, for the league. It has been absolutely thrilling watching these drivers week in and week out. It is absolutely a blast to be here in the booth for these guys. And I got to say, being here for yet another semi-final for their season, for the American Sim Racing Club. You know, it's kind of like deja vu almost here in the booth for myself, having seen Brett Hahn in this similar situation. And I say similar, but that's not even really the case here. See, Brett Hahn for the Super Late Model Series, and these aren't super late models. I understand that full and well, and I'm sure there's going to be some people bickering away to themselves that these aren't super late models. But anyhow, that's out of the way. We're green flag racing here. Andrew Payne actually taking the lead here. Ron Hart in the 051 going to be following behind as they work their way out of turn 4, back down the straight here again across the checkered line. That's going to bring us lap 2. Ron Hart still trying to hold on to the second place spot here. Hayden Swank going to be in that third place spot, but look behind these drivers is where all the action is, and we already have our first caution, and guess who it is? Brett the Jet Hahn. Not going to be a great start here for the 71 machine, as it would seem. Let's see if we can get a quick replay as to what happens here as he works his way down the front stretch into turn 1. He's got the 84 on his outside here. Self-spin in, locks the tires up. Does not get himself collected into the wall. But that's going to bring the caution out. The first one of the race here today. But I got to say, great work there from Brett Hahn. The self-awareness, locking up those tires, not letting himself get down into the wall on the back straight. That would have been absolutely treacherous for... Excuse me, I can't get my words out. For the 71 machine of Brett Hahn here as he attempts to work his way up through this field. And with the first caution coming out here for the start of this race, I got to say Andrew Payne had quite the start there. He's looking quite confident here. Maybe he'll be able to take away some kind of maybe a podium here, but I don't, you know what? I shouldn't have even said that. I shouldn't have even said that. I feel bad now. I feel like something's going to happen, but we're going to go green flag here once more. Lap 4 of 150. My timing is going absolutely wild, telling me that there's crashes all over the place, but there's nothing there, so I'm just going to ignore it, and we're going to continue on here. Andrew Payne still in the lead here with Ron Hart on his outside, working their way through turns 1 and 2. Going to come down the back straight. Look at all these drivers behind them going double file, single, well, almost, not really 3 wide here. It almost looked like we might have a possibility for that, but everyone here looking quite calm, quite collected. David Payton right now on the outside of Nick Fleury in the 25 machine, working their way out of turn 4 down the front stretch here. David Payton falling. Oh, look at that. He goes wide. I was kind of half expecting them to want to stay behind Nick Fleury there, keep that bottom line advantage, but that's going to open up the door for Charles Darling to work his way there in that. Well, actually, no, that was Robert Besaw Jr. in the 3 machine actually taking advantage of that, but oh, nonetheless, Charles Darling still also. All these drivers here down on the inside of David Payton, they're all taking advantage of that. David not in a great spot. He has to get, there he goes. There he goes. Find a spot to wiggle his way back into this line here, force his way back in. That's ultimately the move that he had to make there. Great work there. Oh, but look. Actually, never mind. Might have been an accident happening. I'm not exactly sure what was going on there, but look here, the 52, Austin Nielsen down on the inside of Eric Hahn, well, just behind him rather. Eric Hahn here actually leading these guys quite well, staying out in front of the 52 of Austin Nielsen, holding on to this 13th spot, trying to work his way to the rear of the 29 of John Kane. It looks like Eric also might be going a little high on the entry of 3. Let's take a look here once more. No, it looks like the exit of 4 is where he goes a little bit wide. It might be costing him a little bit of time there. It seems like Austin Nielsen sees that as well and might be taking advantage of that. We'll keep an eye on that, though, and stick with it. It might just be a fluke. It might just be a one-time thing, and he might be correcting it the next time around. That's always something that you do as a driver. You're paying attention to all the kind of little mistakes that you might be making, or maybe you don't. You have a crew chief there. You have someone in your ear that's saying, hey, you're a little slower coming out of turn 3 or whatever the case may be. There's always some bit of information that you can use to help you keep yourself kind of in the groove, keep yourself steady and moving along here. But as we keep moving along through our field, the 16 machine of Noah Boucher sticking it out in front of John Kane of that 29 machine. Look at these guys duke it out between one another. John Kane, very patient here, not getting too close to the rear end of Noah here, keeping it very calm, very collected. Great racing that we're seeing out of the 29 machine of John Kane. But we have battles kind of all over the track at this point in time. Ron Hart ultimately has not left the rear end of Andrew Payne, who I was trying to lock on there for you guys there for just a moment. Excuse me. Andrew Payne here in the 93, doing an incredible job holding this field out, keeping it out in front as much as he possibly can. This is going to be a tough track to do this at. You know, we've already seen it a couple times, drivers getting a little bit loose here and there. You know, hopefully we don't see these guys get wheel to wheel and get loose into one another and ultimately cause a wreck, but everyone's being patient, being very, very conservative with one another as far as how they're passing and how they're kind of applying pressure to one another, if you will. So great racing from all of these drivers here. Excuse me. As the 051 of Ron Hart still chases behind Andrew Payne here, just calmly waiting for the opportunity to arise to make that pass. But back here with Noah Boucher in the 16 machine, he's slowly worked his way back up to the 74 of Mark Welsh. A little bit of distance still between these two drivers, but Noah absolutely still on the hunt here, trying to find that line to stick with the 74, get a little bit more speed going, see where he can get the advantage. And again, it's going to take time. There's always work that has to be done to find that. as Austin Nielsen and John Kane here were side by side for almost a minute there. You can kind of get an idea of what it's like to battle here on track. And here's an even better idea of what it's like to battle your way through the field out on track. Let's actually, speaking of which, let's actually ride on board with Brett Hahn here for a moment. And let's get an idea of what it's like to work our way from the tail end of the field, ultimately, hopefully, for Brett Hahn's sake, up to the front. Top 10, ideally. Top 3 is what he's probably hoping for here today. So looking here right now, you know, it's a lot of just paying attention to the drivers around you. Look at that. Zach Kaiser in the 14 machine, you can see getting a little bit wobbly in front of him, holding it together. And this is exactly the kind of thing, if you are the 71, you have to pay attention to these things. You want to be looking around you, making sure that the drivers around you are staying calm, staying cool, not getting too rowdy, and allow you to continue your race. But everyone here seemingly doing quite a good job here as we look at Austin Nielsen starting to get a little bit of pressure from behind from Mark Welsh in the 74, as well as John Kane, who's kind of been tagging along here with Mark for a few laps now. Crossing the line, lap 32 of 150, with Andrew Payne still in the lead here, but Ron Hart still on the tail in second place. And look at this, Austin Nielsen right now is going to be reeling in the 16 of Noah Boucher. And between, oh, look at this, back behind him, Christopher Campbell with a little bit of an incident here. Let's see if we can get a replay of what happens here. We're looking at the 51 work its way into 3. Oh, and gets a smack from the back from the 14 of Zach Kaiser. Ooh, wow, that was close. Wow, that was extremely close. I don't know who that was, but they came, oh, that had to be within inches. Let's back this up here. Hold on a second. That was, oh, that was extremely close. Look at that. Look at that. That's the 9 of, let's see here, Billy Thomas. Hold on a second. I want to ride on board of the nose. Or, hang on. Look at this. Riding on the back. Oh, man. That is absolutely... Whoo, man. I'm sure Billy Thomas saw the 53 or the 51 of Christopher Campbell coming down track and was probably hoping that nothing was going to come of it, and it looks like nothing did. So great thing that it only was a one-car incident there, but definitely looked like it could have been very close to a multi-car incident there. So great work from all the drivers as we get ourselves back behind the pace car and ready, sorted back out before we go green here once again. And right now, Andrew Payne, Ron Hart, Aiden Swank, the top 3 on this restart here. Andrew Payne having led a good majority of this race here. Ron Hart having also stayed in second place and been on the chase for the exact same amount of time. I almost have to be thinking to myself that Ron Hart might be thinking of a strategy here, of an end race strategy to possibly take away maybe a win. As the pace car works its way back into pit road, we are green flag racing once more here at Southern National Motorsports Park, with Andrew Payne out in the front here once more, as he has been for the majority of this race. Back behind them, the 3 of Robert Besaw Jr., 5th place right now, looking on the inside of the 25 of Nick Fleury as they come down the back straight into 3. Oh, man, they're wheel to wheel here. Coming down the front straight. They almost touch into one once again. Nick Fleury a little bit more cautious this time around. They come down the back straight. Nick Fleury into the wall. He goes up into the air. Sends a more cars. Oh, folks. Oh, that is not the restart that we wanted to see here. Lap 38 of 150. Coming off of our second caution, we now have our third yellow flag of the night. And that was, wow. Let's back that up here. I want to take one more look at that. That was just absolutely incredible what we just witnessed there. Let me see if, here we go. Here's the actual replay here, folks. All right, so Nick Fleury here, up on top of the three of Robert Besaw Jr. Robert looks like they touch. Coming out of two, Nick Fleury up into the wall, down the back straight. He collects, I can't see who that is. That looks like the 54. All four tires off the ground. Goes spinning down the center of the track. Another driver hit. You can see someone else spinning back there behind him as well. Oh, folks. What a way. And they were driving extremely hard on one another. They both were giving it their all. And, you know, that's racing. That's definitely part of racing. You know, that's bound to happen. And I don't think that there's really going to be too hard of feelings in that scenario, just because of, you know, they ultimately, they just got a little bit too close. You know, they were driving both real hard, and I don't think that Nick Fleury maybe expected Robert to kind of wash up the track as much as he did, ultimately causing them to collide, it seemed like, because Robert definitely seemed like he was still kind of on the path to go meet up with the wall coming out of turn 2. It definitely seemed like he thought he had the room to move up, and turns out he didn't. But again, let's take a look here as these guys go green flag racing here once more. Let's take a look on the inside from the helmet camera of the 051 of Ron Hart. This kind of gives you, now this isn't the best way to show you. Look at this. We have another caution out already. Let's see what happens here. What on earth? Noah Boucher looks like he was involved in a wreck. So on the restart here once more, coming out of 2, down the, oh, look at that. Ooh, the 86, John Sinu, gets a little bit unsettled as he approaches turn 3. Oh man, more drivers collected in that. Oh geez. Oh geez, folks. This is where things probably are going to start to get, well, really probably heated amongst drivers. You know, we had a really solid green flag run for quite some time, actually, and it was looking very promising. Everyone's looking very solid out on track. And now that we're kind of starting to see these cautions come out, see these kind of little mistakes come out, I'm sure drivers are kind of talking amongst themselves and kind of thinking, hey, what's going on? We've been green for so long. What's happening now? What's the change? And I could probably tell you, and it's going to be tire wear. I can almost guarantee you right here, right now, that it's going to be tire wear that is going to be affecting these drivers. Now, when I say that, these tires that these guys have for this race are good for the majority of the race. They're not exactly going to be completely done for. You know, right now we're 40 laps into the race. They're not exactly awful by any means necessary, because again, there's only one extra set of tires that drivers have available to them for this race. So it's not as if drivers are kind of pushing the limits of their tire wear and playing on pit strategy, so on and so forth. It's ultimately that as time progresses, you're going to see your line change ever so slightly, just little by little. And it's going to change to the point to where at the start of the race, you might be able to take the line that you normally do and not drift up into the wall. But 40 laps in, you might start to drift up into the wall a little bit. So that's possibly what we're seeing here. But green flag has flown once more after that yellow flag here. Andrew Payne back out in front once again, as he has been. Ron Hart in second place. Hayden Swank in third. And all of these drivers here all giving it their all. Once again, Noah Boucher here, especially down on the inside of John Cena here. Oh, Noah sideways down the back straight. Brings out the caution once more. Oh, folks. You know, and it's a shame, too, having a caution come out from a single car incident like this. It can get a little tiring for drivers sometimes. It sometimes can get to a point to where you almost feel like you're gonna have another caution come out the next restart. It gets a little repetitive at certain points or another. But it also is kind of a wake-up call for some drivers. Not necessarily a wake-up call, maybe just kind of like a nudge. Hey, things aren't really going too well right now. What can we do to change this? How can we fix this little dilemma that we're having here currently? So, I'm sure that conversation is probably going to be coming up there. But for just a quick moment here, we're going to take a very quick commercial break up here in the booth, and we will be right back. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere for more of the Mtn Dew Modified Tour presented by Tagare Property Management here on Team Goon Squad.
Driver Carrington gets dumped by Benami. The leaders are winding up here. Daytona, the big one is out.
And welcome back, folks. We are back as the pace car is about to make its way back into pit road. And we are going to go green flag racing here once again. Andrew Payne still out in front as he's holding on to this lead for quite some time. Here we can kind of get a wider view of the field as they make their way down the back straight. Look at behind them. Drivers getting a little bit side by side here. Robert Besaw Jr., Justin Vanderwood, both side by side as they work their way. Turn one, out of turn two, down the back straight. Robert, the winner out of that battle, as he holds on to 11th place. Lap 44 of 150. Just about 36 laps left to go here before we are at the halfway point, and the yellow flag is out once more. Looks like Nathan Henry involved here in this one. Turned around on the front stretch. Let's take a look at what happens here to Nathan in the 59 machine. Oh, gets tapped from the 52. Sends him looking in the wrong direction. Down the front straight. And Austin Nielsen going to be the one involved in that one here as well. But that's going to bring out our sixth caution here of the race as drivers get themselves back out onto track once more. And started here once again. And I got to say, folks, again, this has been quite the race. Frankly, with how much of, how much this field is kind of dealing with this track right now. And another thing I want to note here as well, if you haven't noticed it already, the sun is going down. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, well, this is a simulator. It doesn't matter too much. Oh, that is where I'll tell you that you are unfortunately incorrect. The temperature of the track is going to start to cool down. So what that means is that the track isn't going to have as much grip as it initially did at the start of this race. So compared to the start, where drivers had I won't say a lot more, but significantly more than they probably do now at this point. When the sun was still up, the track is still relatively warm, especially as drivers were completing practice laps for about an hour, I believe, actually. So there was definitely a lot of time to keep the track warm, get a lot of rubber down on the track, make sure that grip was good this time around. But as the track cools off, that's going to change. That's probably another reason why we're seeing a lot of shakeups happen here as we go green flag racing once more at Southern National Motorsports Park. Andrew Payne still out in front. Oh, look at that. A driver up on the wall. Mark Welsh in the 74 machine down the back straight. 2 wheels all the way up on the wall there. Oh, hopefully that doesn't happen again here. Definitely we'll be looking to try and avoid making the same mistake twice here on this 6th restart that we've had here for this race already. So drivers are really going to be trying, looks like, to tidy things up and keep themselves green flag racing here for as much as they can. And everyone doing a good job so far. Everyone's looking pretty calm. Starting to, look at this though. John Cena in the 86 machine challenging Eric Hahn for that 13th place spot right now. Trying to see if he can find an opening around that 711 machine, as he is still on the tail of Eric Hahn. Look at this, coming down into turn 3. Oh, did they touch there? I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell if they touched there or not. It looks like they did. They possibly did. And out of turn 2, down the back straight here, John Cena, a little bit sideways. Coming down into turn 3, though. Is he going to be able to hold on to it? Coming out the front stretch, Eric Hahn way wide. Almost touches the wall. Into turn 1 here once more. They almost touch. And Noah Boucher also kind of getting involved here, as John Cena now successfully able to get himself away from this kind of battle forming behind him. Noah Boucher in the 16 also starting to do the exact same thing here as he tries to work his way back to the 86 of John Cena in 13th right now. Nathan Henry behind him also doing the exact thing here. And Eric Hahn going to be the one to fall victim to all of this, as he falls back now to 17th as these drivers continue to work their way through this field here. Look up front though, Mark Welsh in the 74 machine duking it out side by side with Robert Besaw coming down the front stretch into turn 1. Robert sticking it down low, Mark going wide down the back stretch into turn 3. These guys almost wheel to wheel here as they continue to battle for this 7th place spot. Robert almost able to get his way out into the front, but Noah Boucher gonna be having some problems here, it looks like. Oh man, right on the apron of turn 3 here. Let's see if we can get a look at what happened to the 16 here. Works his way down the front, so it might have been. Oh no! Okay, so that was the apron of turn 1, not turn 3. Excuse me. Let's take a look at that one more time, because I was too focused on figuring out what turn that was rather than what actually happened. So it looks like from here there was some problems up in front. Yeah. So we have a car sideways. I can't tell the number. That looks like the 25 possibly. Noah not able to find his way around. That can't be the 25. That's Nick Fleury. That's definitely not Nick Fleury's paint scheme there. So Hayden Swank. Nope, definitely not Hayden Swank. All right, so I'm not exactly sure who he ran into, but I know that he did get collected into another driver here. But anyhow, as Noah Boucher back in pit road on lap 58 of 150, Andrew Payne has done a considerable job here tonight, having led the majority of this race, as well as Ron Hart in the 05-1 and Hayden Swank holding on to that first, second, third place spot, respectively. All three of these drivers doing an incredible job here today. Gotta give them props, give them a shout out for doing such an awesome job here for this race today. As we get ready to go green flag once more, as it would appear. With this being our 7th caution of the race. Let's see if we can get a good green flag run this time around. The green flag drops this time. And Andrew Payne gets the jump on the 05-1 of Ron Hart. Hayden Swank also trying to look to see if he can find a room around, but look behind them, Brett Hahn, Charles Darling, and look at a driver that we haven't been looking at here for a little while. Brett Hahn snuck his way all the way up here to 5th place. And you know, usually Brett Hahn is very good at doing that. Maybe it's just I'm not doing my job as a commentator very well and going through the field as much as I should, but Brett Hahn does this week in, week out. He wins a race, next week finds himself at the tail end and just slowly but surely chips away at that lead, works his way up into the top 10, the top 5, and right now here he is, the top 5 right now, and on the tail of Charles Darling in that 88 machine. Gonna be on the chase here. Lap 62 of 150. Just about to the halfway point here. And a lot of great racing that we've seen from every single driver here today. As Andrew Payne, again, has led the majority of this race and has had Ron Hart on his tail for most of that time. And Ron Hart, again, I think, is kind of playing a little bit of strategy games here. He's being patient. I don't think he wants to really... I don't think he really wants to show the true potential of that 05-1 until it really matters. Until time really allows it. But we'll check back in on that. We'll keep an eye on those battles here as they progress. Looking here, though, between Billy Thomas... As he gets up into the wall, he was looking like he was side by side with Nathan Henry for just a moment, but now David Payton going to be down on his inside, taking that 13th place spot. So Billy Thomas now going to have to fight his way back into this group here. Mark Welsh, though, not having some problems on the exit of turn 2. Let's see if we can get a replay spooled up of this incident here. Here we go. There we go. Out of turn 2, and the 98, Evan Coleman, going to be kind of riding along with him into that incident there. So a 2-car incident for the most part, but that's going to bring out our 8th caution for the race here today. And I hate to do this again, folks, but we're going to take another quick commercial break. I will be right back. We will be back here for some more of the Mtn Dew Modified Tour presented by Tagare Property Management. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere.
Driver Carrington gets dumped by Benami. The The leaders are winding up here. Daytona, the big one is out.
Welcome back, folks, to the Mtn Dew Modified Tour presented by Tagare Property Management. We are about to go green flag here once more here at Southern National Motorsports Park for the series, well, actually not the series, but the semi-finale of the series here as we go green flag once more. Andrew Payne and Ron Hart. Both of these drivers, as well as Hayden Swank, both in the top 3 since the start of the race, and have done a phenomenal job of holding on to that. And these guys have had some ups and downs throughout this race here, and I gotta say, it's been thrilling to watch. Charles Darling now looking to challenge the 35 of Hayden Swank for that 3rd place spot, and frankly, there's battles happening all over this field. It's kind of, oh man, it's a mess to keep up with. Right now, Hayden Swank still being challenged by the 88 of Charles Darling, but looking behind them, John Sinu. Oh, man, a little wobbly from the 86 machine coming out of 4. Holds it together, though. Prevents the yellow flag from coming out once again. But still looking back up here with these two. Oh, they touch wheels coming out of turn 4 down the front stretch. Hayden Swank's able to take the 3rd place spot. Still, he's still holding on to it, but Charles Darling is not letting up, though. Up on 2 wheels as he works his way into 3. Man, Charles not having a good moment here. Oh, man, he lost a lot of pace there, falling back quite a bit now. Brett Hahn going to be able to work his way out in front of that 88 machine. In 4th place now. Again, Brett Hahn done an incredible job here of working his way through this field to get to where he's at right now. Looking behind them, Robert Besaw Jr. that we're looking with right now in that 3 machine in 7th place at this point in time of the race, which is actually now halfway through today's race. Look at that. We've seen that happen for a couple drivers here today, getting up onto that wall and having falling back a little bit here and there. But despite the loss in pace, even if it's just a fraction of a second, everyone doing a good job here holding on to their positions. So great racing and great to see all the momentum going forward. And speaking of momentum, Andrew Payne right now, the 051 of Ron Hart, giving him that challenge as we ride on board the rear wing camera of the 93 machine of Andrew Payne, our race leader, as we enter lap 79 of 150. Frankly, a really great view, in my opinion, giving you an idea of kind of what your leader is doing, but also kind of how, oh, look at this, Zach Heiser having a moment. Oh, man. Not sure exactly what happens here. Let's take a look at the replay. Going into turn 3. Might have just got loose on his own here. Yep, there he goes. Snaps it sideways. And hold on a second. Hold on. We're going to put on our detective hat here, and we're going to do some investigating. So, if you look at the left-hand tires of this 14 machine, okay, follow along here. Watch. You see that kind of black line that he's going over? That's the point where he starts to slip. Everything's looking calm, everything's looking cool, and then right there, he starts to lose grip, and you can see just how little it takes to lose your traction and to get your car sideways. The thing that you have to understand is that you're going so fast, you're pushing so much throttle to your tires. They're spinning at a certain speed, a certain revolution, that when they get to a point that they no longer can hold that traction and they just violently spin on their own, well, you have that. That's not the best explanation, I'm sure. I'm sure someone else can explain it much better than I can, but that is kind of the rough idea of what happened there. As we go green flag here once more, lap 81 of 150 at Southern National Motorsports Park. Andrew Payne has taken the lead here, and it has done so quite well. Nick Fleury, David Payton going to be duking it out here side by side. Oh, man. And I'm also wondering what happened to Brett Hahn here, as he's fallen back now into 11th place on this restart. Not exactly certain what happened to that 71 machine, but I'm certain that he won't have any issue working his way back up into this field. But look at these guys. Oh, man, both of them go up onto the wall. Charles Darling and Robert Besaw Jr., both drivers going up onto the wall on the back stretch there. Keeping it together, though, Charles Darling on the outside of Mark Welsh, able to work his way out in front as he works his way into 3 out of 4 down the front stretch, trying to get down into the rear end of Eric Hahn in the 711 machine as he continues his challenge there. Now Robert Besaw going to be on the outside here of Mark Welsh, who continues to oh no, they smack into each other down the back stretch into turn 3. The 54 also getting involved. Oh no, folks, that is not what we wanted to see here. Looks like John DeMeester also involved in this one here as well in the 2 machine. Let's look at it from his point of view. You can see him wrecking out in front. Oh, he gets smacked from the rear end of Hayden Swank as he tries to check up. Oh, no, John. Oh, man. You know, and that's part of... Oh, man, it's part of how you get collected into these things. You know, there's no brake lights on these cars. You don't have the wonderfulness that is brake lights. You can't tell when the guy in front of you is starting to slow down. You kind of just have to use your own human instinct and visually be able to see that they are slowing down, or just kind of use your own knowledge of the track, and based on your own braking points and other information that you have for yourself as a driver, you kind of have an idea of where to expect things, right? But when you have that situation and you have a driver that's suddenly going 30 miles an hour in front of you, and these guys are used to doing, we're right now seeing top speeds. Oh, geez, it's actually not properly showing the last, the actual top speed because of our pace car right now. It looks like about 112 miles an hour, 115 seems to be our possible top speed here, and that seems to be about accurate. So going from 120-ish miles an hour all the way down to 40 or 30 or however slow you're able to get this car down to in you know, the blink of an eye. Not exactly very easy to do that in the split, you know, in the blink of an eye. Again, easier said than done. All I have to say about that. So look at this here. Austin Nielsen, Nick Fleury, and Ron Hart going to be our leaders on this restart here, as most of our drivers have come down into pit road for one reason or another. And I have a feeling it's because of those tires here, folks. I think everyone here is going to be wanting to get on those fresh tires, and it might just work out in their favor for most of these guys. As David Payton right now that we're kind of looking at here, just to get an idea of some of the battles happening out on track currently. The 38 machine able to work his way into 7th place right now, but look up here at Nick Fleury in 2nd place as he tries to hold on to that. But guys, there's battles all over right now. You can see Evan Coleman right now in the 98 machine trying to hold on to 6th place at this point in time, with Andrew Payne, Nathan Henry behind him. Andrew Payne, the leader of this race, or at least was for quite some time, going to be in 7th place right now, and going to be looking here to try and work his way back up to the front of this field. There he goes down on the inside of the 98 of Evan Coleman. Out of turn 4 down the front stretch. Andrew Payne into 6th place now, very quickly working his way up to the front. But look who's also working his way up this field here. Brett Hahn in the 71 machine, going to be following behind the 051 of Ron Hart as they work their way into turn 1 out of turn 2 down the back straight here. Ron Hart, Nick Fleury going to be side by side coming into 3. Almost wheel to wheel there as well. A little bit more cautious this time as well, as we've seen multiple drivers, oh, look at that, get so close to one another. Let's actually ride on board from the helmet camera of Brett Hahn here, just to kind of get a better angle of what's happening up in front of this 71 machine. But he's actually starting to work his way around Nick Fleury in that 25 machine. So great work here from Brett Hahn as they come through turn 3 and 4 out onto the front stretch. That's going to give Brett Hahn that 3rd place spot. And actually Ron Hart going to be up into 2nd place now here as well, back to where he was chasing Andrew Payne. But Andrew Payne's starting to get held up here a little bit by Nick Fleury as they come down the back straight. Andrew Payne, little bit of trouble, sideways down into turn 3. The yellow flag comes out once more here at Southern National Motorsports Park, and that machine is definitely not driving the way that it should be here. That's going to bring out our 11th caution of the race here today. And folks, this has been, wow, I gotta say. We've seen a lot of our lead drivers get taken out just purely due to simple mistakes, essentially. But it's going to give Ron Hart, Brett Hahn now in 2nd place, and Nick Fleury the top 3 on this restart. Lap 99 of 150. So 52 laps to go here in this race. For the series semi-finale of the Mtn Dew Modified Tour, presented by Tagare Property Management, also sponsored by PepsiCo and Mtn Dew. As we get set up and prepared to go green flag here once more. We're going to come through turn 3 and out of 4. Oh, here we go, folks. Green flag is out once again. Ron Hart the first time he's had the opportunity to lead some laps here at Southern National. Brett Hahn's going to be down behind him, though. We'll see how long that lasts for the 051 of Ron Hart as Brett Hahn continue his battle, his chase here down the front straight into turn 1. You have Charles Darling just behind him. Nick Fleury as well on the chase here. We have drivers 2 wide, 4 deep. Going into turn 3, out of turn 4, it's David Payton and Nathan Henry side by side, almost wheel to wheel as they come out of turn 2, down the back straight into turn 3. David Payton going to fall behind Nathan Henry in that 59. We still have drivers side by side. Billy Thomas, a little bit of a wobble there. It seemed like there for just a moment. They come out of turn 2 down the back straight here once again. Billy Thomas still going to be on the inside of John Sinu that's going to be Austin Nielsen in the 52. They're going to go into turn 1 here. Austin Nielsen out in front. Now it's going to be John Sinu and Billy Thomas side by side as they work their way down the back straight into turn 3. Oh man, Billy Thomas not having quite the advantage here down on the bottom line that he's probably hoping for. He's got a little bit of a challenge here from Evan Coleman to back behind him. Evan definitely putting the pressure here, trying to get as close as he can, trying to find the room around that number 9 machine. Billy Thomas looking like he's trying to take that line away from him, but look who's also starting to work their way in here. Hayden Swang, who seems to be down actually a lap here as well, trying to work his way back up through this field. But looking back at our leaders, though, look at that. Ron Hart getting almost spun out, it seemed like, by the 71 of Brett the Jet Hahn, our current championship leader, as it currently stands, but only just by a little bit. We're going to have to see how this race ends, folks, before we can even know how the season is going to end. But right now, Brett definitely seems like he is going to possibly take away the win here for today's race if he can continue on this chase of the 051 of Ron Hart like he's continued to do all race long, really. Well, up until this point that he started to have this opportunity to do so. Looking back here with Nathan Henry on the rear end of Nick Fleury for that 5th place spot. Lap 110 of 150, 41 laps left to go here. Nathan Henry slowly trying to get his way into the back of that 25 machine and see if he can possibly make an attempt at a pass here. We'll look back here. Eric Hahn going to be down on the inside of the 38. David Payton, they almost touch. Hayden Swank, John Sinu also going to be, oh man, almost wheel to wheel here as they come out of turn 2 down the back straight. Oh, wow. Did you guys see that? That was a bold move from Eric Hahn, getting right out in front of Hayden Swank. Oh, right out. I think that was actually turn 2 last time around. Great moves from the 711. Well, look at this. David Payton getting washed up to the top out of turn 4. That's going to cost him a little bit of time here. You can also see John Sinu as well as Evan Coleman duking it out side by side just in front of these two drivers here. The 9 of Billy Thomas still trying to hold on to this position, trying to work his way up this field. Oh, look at that. John Sinu getting up onto the wall for just a moment. Again, we've seen a lot of drivers do that here tonight. It definitely seems to be the demon of Southern National. Drivers getting a little bit washed up to the outside. Look at that. Almost every single time we're seeing at least one driver get up into the wall like that. So definitely probably seeing the temperature of the track starting to come into play here as it's now looks like dark in sim. So track temps are starting to get a little bit colder. Grip is starting to become a little bit less. Now there's still plenty of it to be had, but it's definitely not going to be the same as it was at the start of the race. Now that most drivers here have also had an opportunity to get a change of tires, I would assume they're still able to click off some pretty fast laps here. As Austin Nielsen dukes it out here with Nick Fleury coming out of turn 2 down the back straight. Austin, yeah, there he goes, right out in front of Nick Fleury into turn 3 and out of 4, taking away that line advantage from Nick Fleury. And not even necessarily an advantage, but just really just trying to take away that speed from Nick Fleury, from that 25 machine, trying to keep it slow, trying to keep it from getting around, and taking away the position that you're fighting for. And speaking of trying to hold on positions that you're fighting for, as we are just about 2 laps left to go before we are 25 to go in this race, Ron Hart, Brett Hahn, side by side. They come down the front stretch. Brett Hahn going to be on the, ooh, wow. Ron sends it into 1, out of 2, down the back straight. Going to hold on to first place, but Brett Hahn still on the chase here of Ron Hart. Brett doing an incredible job here, just trying to keep with it, trying to stick to the tail of that 051. I'm sure that Brett knows that Ron has the speed. He's got what it takes. He knows what he's doing behind the wheel. Is he going to be able to hold on to the pressure here with 25 laps to go here as we cross the line? And Charles Darling here, I got to say, he's just he's just in it. He's just here. He's up here in the top 3. He's just going to stick with it and hold on to what he's got right now. But this battle between Ron Hart and Brett Hahn is, oh man, 24 laps left to go. It's going to go all the way until the bitter end, as these two drivers continue to work their way around the track. I actually kind of want to ride on board here once more with Brett Hahn and just kind of get a feel once again for the inside of the 71 here at Southern National. Riding on board with Ron Hart, you can hear and see just how much he is trying to push this car, trying to get himself up around the 051 of Ron Hart here. And with only 20 laps left to go, folks, it is going to be a shootout all the way until the end. But look up here. Lap traffic going to start to come into play here. Let's see how this affects our drivers out in front. Oh, Ron Hart. You see drivers going high, trying to get out of the way of the drivers on the lead lap here, but the only driver that doesn't seem to be doing reciprocating that, can't tell whose number that is. And there he goes, the 84, I think that was, or the 74, Mark Welsh. Oh, wow. Getting washed up a little bit there down the back straight. No, that was the 14, Zach Heiser. That was not able to get out of the way there as quickly as I'm sure they probably wanted him to, but either way, Ron Hart, Brett Hahn, there's really no harm, no foul between the two. 16 laps left to go, and Ron's still out in front, still holding on to this lead, and it seems like he knows what he's got to do to be able to keep Brett Hahn behind him and prevent Brett from taking that first place spot from him, taking the win for tonight. As we come across the line with 14 to go, this battle has continued on for quite some time, and has, I think, built up all the way until this point here. So it's going to be great to see it come to an end and to crown a winner for today's race. Let's look at this. David Payton, Billy Thomas, both going to be duking it out here for that 10th place spot, but not for very long. And it seems like Billy might just be having some struggles here with some lines, with some line work here and there, possibly. He's up there, and then he's down, and then he's back up, and then he's down again. Not exactly sure what's going on in that 9 machine tonight, but he's still in 10th, or excuse me, he's in 11th place right now, so not exactly doing too bad here. He's definitely got something figured out. He's still out here, still competing, and definitely looking to possibly even get into that top 10 here. But David Payton and John Sinou right now. David holding on to that 10th place spot as it currently stands with 9 laps left to go. Things are going to wrap up here very, very soon. So drivers are giving it their all, trying to see where they can place themselves for today's race. Eric Hahn in 8th place right now. Ooh, wow, coming out of turn 4. Hayden Swank following behind him. Almost looked like they were going to get into one another there for just a moment, but keeping everything steady here. So great to see Eric Hahn, though, working his way up into that 8th place spot as Ron Hart and Brett Hahn still duking it out for first place. 6 laps left to go. I'm sure the tension is, I'm sure that Ron is definitely white-knuckled on that wheel right now. I know that I certainly would be, and especially if you have a driver like Brett Hahn on your tail. Yeah, you're definitely going to want to give it your all, but from what I understand and from what I've heard from Brett Hahn especially, that Ron Hart knows what he's doing. He's a very skilled driver, and I'm certain is not going to have too much troubles here with 4 laps left to go here at Southern National Motorsports Park for the Mountain Dew Modified Tour presented by Tagare Property Management. 150 laps that we will do once the 3 laps have been completed for this race. And I gotta say, this has been an amazing race to commentate. Ups and downs all over the place and a lot of uncertainty as to who was going to come out on top, but there was one thing that was for sure. Brett Hahn working his way up into the top 3. And here we go. Final lap. Coming out of turn 2, down the back straight, Ron Hart, Brett Hahn into 3 and out of 4. Down the front stretch and across the checkered line. Ron Hart takes home the win with Brett Hahn in 2nd place and Charles Darling taking home 3rd as the rest of the field works their way across the checkered line now as well to complete today's race at Southern National Motorsports Park. My oh my, folks. And here Ron goes, ready to burn the place down and give the paint crew here at Southern at the track something to do, something to paint for the next day. But as Ron Hart burns the place down and gives the pit crew guys something to change on the car, we're going to go ahead and get started with our post-race interviews here, as well as go through our race results here. Ron Hart taking home the win in the 05-1. Brett Hahn in 2nd. Charles Darling in 3rd. Austin Nielsen in 4th. Nathan Henry in 5th. Nick Fleury in 6th. Evan Coleman in 7th. Eric Hahn in 8th. John Sinou in 9th. David Payton in 10th. Billy Thomas in 11th. Hayden Swank in 12th. Zach Heiser in 13th. John DeMeester in 14th. John Kane in 15th. Mark Welsh in 16th. Rex Hoyle in 17th. Andrew Payne in 18th. Robert Bisson in 19th. Justin Wood in 20th. Christopher Campbell in 21st. Noah Boucher in 22nd. Andrew Burr in 23rd. Brent Seagars in 24th. And Steve Seagars in 25th. And I believe both the Seagars did not start in today's race here as well. That might have been a race control thing. Anyhow, that is our final roundup for today's race here, and we are going to go ahead and get started with our post-race interviews. And that's going to be starting off with one Charles Darling in the 88 machine. So let's go ahead and get Mr. Charles in here. Charles, sir, do you have a read?
I got you, Mason.
Charles, this was quite the race. I do have to say, 150 laps here at Southern National. It kind of seemed pretty straightforward at the beginning. We had Andrew Payne leading the race for quite some time, and even despite the cautions, still able to hold on to that lead. And then about 3/4 of the way through, that opened up the door for a lot of people, yourself included, who I noticed was slowly but surely working their way through the field and ultimately found themselves in third. Charles, what was it like coming to Southern National, and did it turn out the way that you expected?
It actually turned out better than I expected. Surprisingly, I ran a race here on Sunday and fared, fared about the same, finished third, but I do not like this track. I like tracks that have an outer groove, but I think we proved tonight that you can run the outer groove here. Brett gave me plenty of room. A couple guys gave me plenty of room on the outside when I tried to make it work. Um, Me and Ron ran a strategy where when we hit 80 laps to go, I'm like, I'm going for it. So we came in and we figured, what the heck, we ain't got nothing to lose. We'll try and see if the tires hold out. And fortunately, it worked out in my favor.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing I gotta touch on here as well. Given the number of cautions that we have now, you guys definitely seem like you got it straightened away, kind of at the most opportune time during the race as well. You gave yourselves a really long green flag run towards the end, but during that kind of middle section of the race where it was kind of a caution fest, what was kind of your mentality going forward? Did you kind of expect it to continue to be that way, or were you kind of button heads with other guys trying to tell them, hey, let's get this sorted out? What was kind of going through your head? What was going through the rest of the field's mind?
Well, I think a lot of guys were probably just, wanting to get a rhythm going. I mean, it's hard when you get going and you run your line a couple of laps and then all of a sudden you get a caution. And then you got to worry about your restarts, about timing it right, not ducking low too early, not ducking too high, not getting to the guy in front of you. And it's just hard to get a consistent rhythm. And it was nice when we had those couple of long, that long green flag run at the beginning and then that long green flag run at the end. It was I'm wore out.
Honestly, if I was one of you guys, if I was a driver in your position, I would be too. This was a long race. This was definitely a long race. 150 laps here at Southern National. It's definitely nothing to cough at. But Charles, you were able to come home, take home third place, and I got to congratulate you on that. That was definitely a hard fought place to win or to take home tonight. But Charles, before I let you go, before you celebrate tonight, is there anyone at home, anyone watching the broadcast that you want to shout out or thank before you go?
Well, I got to thank the letters that I've got or the sponsors I have on the side of my car. Dead Short Race Car Wiring, my buddy Brad Bergevin out of Fairgrove, Michigan. A great guy, great friend. He's got a little side business out there and is on the car. Birch Run Speedway and Event Center in Birch Run, Michigan, of course. Race1.us. Mark Welch does a hell of a job on everybody's paint scheme that he does. He's done mine for, I think, the last 2 years or so. Michigan Auto Racing Fan Club. We have a bowling tournament coming up on March 19th, so that's on the back of the car as well. And then some associate sponsors, Hal Racing Enterprise, Eddie Performance Solutions, and of course the B and B&C Racing, my wife Brenda, for putting up with my nuttiness.
Absolutely. Well, Charles, thank you for coming up here and chatting with me in the booth. Again, congratulations on taking home third for the semifinals, and I look forward to seeing you for the final race next week.
Hey, thanks a lot, Mason. Real quick before I go, I got to thank all the admins that put this on. Everybody at ASRC is a great group of guys to race with. All of the sponsors, Mountain Dew, Tagare, PepsiCo, Frito-Lay, Luke Oil. It's just an awesome bunch to be a part of.
Absolutely. Well, Chuck, thank you again for coming up here and joining me in the booth, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
Yep, take care, Mason. Thank you.
Absolutely. Have a great night, Chuck.
You too.
Alrighty, folks, that is Chuck Darling in the 88 machine out of the booth, taking home third place. Up next, Brett the Jet Hahn, our race winner from last week's race at Irwindale, taking home second place for today. Brett, sir, can you read me?
Yeah, I got a copy, Mason.
Brett, it seems like we have a trend here, Brett. You win a race. You start at the tail end of the race again next week, and you just come out and you might not exactly win that race, but you still come up here and you take a podium. Brett, what is your father feeding you that has given you all this success here in this series?
Oh man, he's giving me a lot of great advice. Some great stuff that helps me, especially starting at the back. I raced quarter midgets, which are little go-karts. He kept me in let's say a smaller motor class, even though we were overweight, and maybe a little bit slower on paper, but that allowed me to really work on my passing skills, and it's paid off dividends, especially starting in the back. That's one of my favorite things, Mason, setting up cars and getting around them. And I tell you what, even though we don't get the win, the top three is definitely worth it because, man, I was pressuring Ron Hart for, it felt like 100 laps, and he made little to no mistakes, and I give him props because I was definitely right on that bumper in case he did.
Yeah, and speaking of Ron Hart taking home the win, now you were able to edge him out last week in points for the championship standings. Now, given that he came home with a win for tonight and you taken home second, how do you think that's going to affect the standings? Do you still think you're going to be on top going into next week?
I think so. I think Ron's actually missed a few races, so I think he's a little bit further down. But I'm still down to reset the points and go to this one like we're racing for the championship. Because me and him, I tell you what, it's some awesome battles. He pushed me to the limit, I pushed him to the limit, and man, that was some fun racing, Mason.
Absolutely, it was. It was definitely great to watch up here in the booth, and great to call the action for. But Brett, one more question though before we go into the series finale, into the deciding championship race next week. What are your thoughts? Are you feeling confident, and do you think you're going to take home yet another championship this year?
Yeah, Mason, I really do like New Hampshire. Those bigger tracks I usually tend to do pretty well at with saving my tires and really keeping a good race pace. Luckily, I don't have to start at the back, so I don't have to worry about passing too many cars. Hopefully, we can put up another good qualifying session like we did today. And yeah, Mason, hopefully we can go for 3 in a row in the ASRC short track series because, man, this is a blast, Mason. Even though we didn't win, I'm ecstatic to come home the way we did, get through this field because Southern National is not one of my favorite tracks, but able to avoid the madness because there's some big ones that the 71 machine had to skirt through tonight.
Absolutely. There was definitely a lot of carnage on track. But, Brett, before I let you go and before you celebrate tonight, is there anyone at home, anyone watching the broadcast that you want to shout out or thank before you celebrate your second place win tonight?
Oh yeah, Mason. Of course, you in the booth and Team Goon Squad, you guys do an awesome job. Can't wait to rewatch this stream. Got to give a big shout out to Ron Hart with an awesome race. Same with Chuck Darling coming in third right on my bumper. Wasn't allowing me to make any mistakes, so happy to see those guys in the top 3. Of course, all the other competitors out here to have a 25 car field here is awesome. Love to see the car count throughout it. And of course, all the league sponsors to make this league happen, all the admins to keep everyone in check. And of course, some sponsors on the car, of course, Turn 3 Racing Network. Got to give a big shout out to them. Broster Chicken, Quick Time, Motorsports Media. Be sure to check them out if you need a paint scheme in any virtual racing car. Tanner does an awesome job. And yeah, of course, all the Brett the Jet fans out there watching in the YouTube lands. And my grandma Grammy watching. Appreciate you tuning on in and cheering me on. My brother Carson. Of course, my dad racing out here got an 8th place, so awesome job to that 7-Eleven machine. And yeah, all the Brett the Jet fans. I know there's a good amount of them, and hopefully we can finish the season off strong with another championship next week.
Absolutely, Brett. Well, I hope to see you in the same place again next week, and hopefully take home yet another championship. Brett, thank you for coming up here and chatting with me in the booth before you head out. Congratulations again on taking home second, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah, thank you, Mason. Always great job in the booth, and yep, see you next week. Have a good night, everyone.
All right, folks, that's going to be Brett the Jet Hahn in the 71 taking home second place for tonight. Last but certainly not least, Ron Hart in the 05-1 taking home the win. Ron, sir, do you have a read?
Yeah, I got you, man.
Ron, what an incredible race. And Ron, I have to give you credit. You did such an incredible job in this race. You stuck behind Andrew Payne for the majority of the first half of the race, and you really didn't veer too far away from that kind of top 3, top 5 position, and ultimately found yourself up here in the front. Oh man. I can't even really properly think what the first question I want to ask you, Ron. What was it like dealing with all these cautions coming out and how did that kind of affect your game plan for tonight's race?
Yeah, long race tonight, 150 laps of green flag. So it wasn't about getting to the front at the beginning, just kind of be in the right position. And finally tonight got the strategy right and pitted one caution before Andrew, which kind of leapfrogged him to get us the lead and just held on from there. You know, it was a lot of laps of Brett right in the bumper, but it's a hard place to pass if you can hit your marks, and was able to do that for the last 50 laps to keep him behind me.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely seemed like quite the challenge to keep that 71 behind you and keep it tame. Now, with that in mind here as well, I mentioned it during the broadcast. I want to ask if this kind of had an effect to drivers out on track. At the beginning of the race, the sun was out, and at the end of the race, it was completely black around the track. Was there a lot of struggle kind of dealing with grip around the track as it cooled off, or do you think there wasn't really too much difference there?
It felt like the car got a little bit freer as the night went on. I don't know if that was the track getting freer just because we were pushing a little bit harder there at the end, but the car definitely rotated a little bit better, and I think we picked up a little bit of speed at the end. Like I said, it could have been because it got dark out, but couldn't tell you for sure, I guess.
Absolutely. Well, with that in mind, and with an incredible win for tonight's race, Ron, is there anyone at home, anyone watching the broadcast that you want to shout out or thank before I let you go here tonight?
Yeah, I think the parents are watching again tonight. That's 2 wins in a row. We were able to win on Monday as well, so it's cool to get back-to-back wins. Good race with Brett always. I gave him one last week by messing up turn 1 and 2 in the last lap, so it was good to beat him tonight, not give him another one, and make him not have to come from the back next week. It's good. Appreciate Tanner and all the admins here putting on a good league, and of course you, Mason, for doing the broadcast.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ron, for coming up here and chatting with me in the booth, and hopefully going into next week we see some similar success for the 051 and hopefully take home a win again. But Ron Hart, thank you again for coming up here and chatting with me in the booth, and congratulations again on taking home the win tonight.
Thanks, Mason. Have a good night.
You as well. Alrighty, folks. Ron Hart in the 051 taking home the win tonight at Southern National Motorsports Park. My name is Mason Heimbaugh with Team Goon Squad, bringing you the action tonight. I hope everyone has enjoyed. If you did, hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already, to stay tuned with all the action that we have here on Team Goon Squad 7 days a week. And I want to thank you all for watching once again. And if you guys would like to stay tuned with more of the action here going forward, or like to join in on some of the action with American Sim Racing Club, head down to their website, AmericanSimRacingClub.com. Check out some of the series they have there. I'm pretty sure they're going to have openings here pretty soon, and see if it is something that you yourself would be interested in. Thank you all for tuning in and watching, and I will see you all next week for the series finale of the Mtn Dew Modified Tour presented by Tagare Property Management. Thank you all for watching.